Hello, this is Mark Lanzini here, one of your co-project managers along with Kathy Schleier for the Geothermal project at the Wellesley Village Church. This week's update is going to be primarily a primer for you on how the system operates, what its modes of operations are, and the schedule. Uh, since we've shown a lot of video of pipes, valves, ducting, and stuff, there won't be as much of that, and that's all been moved to the end. So if you want to see that, just stay tuned to the end. The first mode we're going to talk about is the heating mode. That's the mode we use more of, being that we're in a northern latitude. About 60% of our time we're heating, 40% of the time we're cooling. The mode's pretty simple. The heat pumps take the energy from the ground in the form of, and then heat the water up in the heat pump and send it out to the air handling units and to the baseboard radiators. The air handling units heat air that comes down, warm air down into the rooms, and the baseboard radiators obviously heat the room with radiant heat. The radiators are always the primary and first source of heat for all of our rooms because of the way our building's built. Then the air handling units blow additional warm air as needed to take it up to whatever temperatures is required. These radiators that we actually have 47 different radiator zones to individually control the temperature in the various rooms. So the building control system will do that to set the rooms to a pre-programmed temperature or to adjust them to the thermostat in the room if the person in the room changes the temperature within the band that we allow. You can't go crazy with changing the temperature. The air handling units provide fresh air because it's really important that we have air exchange in our building, and CO2 is monitored in each of our rooms to ensure enough fresh air is provided. The air handling units can also provide cooling. We'll talk about that in a minute. 2 of our 7 zones that the air handling units supply have a bunch of different rooms. Some of them are of the units of the zones supply things like the sanctuary, the chapel, village hall. And there, if we heat all the air to one temperature, it works fine. But heating all the air to one temperature in a zone, like you would do in your house, like your first floor zone heats all the rooms in your house on the first floor to a certain temperature, that works fine at home, but doesn't work in a building where you've got 47 different classrooms and different occupancy, some manned all the time, some at night. So we have to adjust the temperature within a zone. That's done by variable air volume units. That takes the air that's coming down from the roof at a certain temperature, and it can both heat it up if we have to warm it up to make that room warmer, or reduce or change the air volume going to that room if we have to lower the temperature. So that's how these 18 different variable air volume units we have is how we control the temperature to individual rooms, primarily the offices and classrooms on the first and second floor. The second mode we'll talk about is the cooling mode or the air conditioning mode. This one's even simpler. The chilled water comes directly from the wells in our water field and is pumped up to the air handling units on the roof. Obviously, we don't use the baseboard radiators for cooling. And interestingly, we also don't use the heat pumps. The water coming out of the ground will normally always be cool enough to provide us air conditioning. This provides a tremendous cost savings because very much less electricity is used doing this, unlike your home or where you're going to have to run compressors and an air conditioner or in your car or refrigerator to cool the coolant. Here, it's coming right out of the ground. So this is a big advantage of the geothermal system. The third mode we have, which is the last mode, is both heating and cooling. This would be typically used in the fall and the spring. For example, in the spring, the northern side of the building will still not be getting much sun and it's shaded by the trees, so it's cool and will need heat. Whereas the south side of the building is going to be getting the direct sun coming in and just baking those rooms on the south side or the west side of the cemetery side. So we have to both heat some areas and cool other areas. And the way that works is the heat pumps, like the heating mode, take the heat out of the ground and push it to the baseboard radiators in the rooms that need heat. So that's going to give us our heat. And some of the other heat pumps take that same energy coming out of the ground and cool air, which then the water in the loop, which then goes up the air handling units on the roof, which sends cool air down to the room for the rooms that need air conditioning. So that's how you get both heat and cooling at the same time in the building in the times when we need that. Interestingly, the way this works super efficiently is if, for example, we cool the air in the rooftop units, that means there will be cool water going to the rooftop units and warm water coming back down because it's absorbed the heat out of the air, brine cool air. Well, that warm water, instead of sending it back into the ground, we just turn it around and pump it right over the baseboard radiators. And the radiators then give off the heat, cool the water, and that cool water then goes back up to the air handling units. So what we're actually doing, if you think about that, in this mode, is we are moving the heat from one side of the building to the other and only taking out of the ground what we need to add or subtract if it isn't quite the same amount of heat being moved. And so think about that. We're actually, instead of generating heat, we're simply moving nature's heat to different parts of the building. It's quite a great concept, and also another big advantage of the geothermal system. Then there's one final twist on this one. There's an outside air economizer mode, and what that does is primarily for the sanctuary. If we get a lot of people in the sanctuary and it's heating up at a time when all the rest of the building needs to be heated because it's cold outside, we can just bring in cool, fresh air from the outside and go right to the sanctuary and cool that down without having to run the heat pumps. I'd like to talk about key events. Due to weather and difficulty getting labor by our subcontractor, the driveway pavers slipped a little bit. We'll finish up the east side in front of the sanctuary main doors by the end of this week, hopefully a little earlier. And then next week, we'll finish up the cemetery side, if not earlier. The driveway top coat will go on October 20th, and that'll finish up our driveway work. The second floor classrooms will be ready by Friday, October 24th. It's really important because our renters, the Chinese language schools, need to be up there since we're going to be using the whole basement, all of the rooms for the rummage sale starting on Saturday, the 26th, for that whole next week. And speaking of that next week, the week of October 27th, while the rummage sale is going on, we'll be doing the fill of all the wells, all the piping and venting all the air out, flushing, testing, and balancing of the water loop side of the system. When I call it the water loop, it's about 20% non-toxic antifreeze and 80% water, just to make sure if it's not running and the stuff that's close to the surface doesn't freeze on a cold day. The flushing's important. We've got the radiators in the sanctuary are cast iron, and they're 50 plus years old, and so is their cast iron piping. We got to flush anything out of there and treat that iron piping so that we don't get debris and rust and corrosion products into all of our brand new piping and valves. So that's an important step and takes some time. That's actually why our go live or fully operational date has slipped a week. This all has to be balanced too. You just don't run pipes to stuff and turn pumps on. You have to get the right amount of flow on those pipes so that it's balanced between what's going to all the 47 different radiator zones and up to the roof. It's all the right amount. So that balancing will also take place the week of October 27th. And then the week after that, which is the week starting November 3rd, is when the building control systems and vendor and all the others will come in and start bringing the system up, tuning it, adjusting the controls such that by Friday, November 7th, the system should be fully operational. Cross your fingers. For those of you that want to get a quick update on some of the technical details and look at some of the construction, stay tuned. If you're not interested in that, feel free to tune out. So this is a picture of the last set of prefabricated ductwork that was prepared to go up on the roof. This will be what connects all the ductwork we showed you last week up there to the building, and that should be happening over the next 10 days. So there's the last crane lift. This occurred actually on Friday last week, and that's lifting the last of the ducting, the duct pieces that connect between all the prefab ducting and the building itself. So that's great. No more cranes. I'm on the second floor now just to show you what the insulation looks like, called lagging. That goes on the pipes. There's the copper pipes in here. You can see the insulation goes on them. So all of those beautiful copper pipes we've been seeing all these days will all end up insulated like that. This Friday last week, working the pavers here in front of the sanctuary. You can see they're got to take them all up. They're all up and stacked there. Then grade, establish the proper grade so it's going to match up with the asphalt. There'll be a then tamp down and relay all those bricks, which by the way is all done by hand. So a lot of work there. This is our finer technical slide, and this is particularly for you aspiring plumbers and home tinkerers. Yeah, don't you wish you had one of these babies? This is a butterfly control valve. This is used throughout our system to start and stop flow and direct flow through all the various pipes as we switch the modes of the heating system. We discussed those modes earlier in there. It's a motor operated valve, and you can see my finger pointing at a disc that sits in the middle of the pipe, and it turns 90 degrees to open and shut to let flow in and out of the pipe. The red unit on the bottom is the motor control that the building management system hooks to. So that's how it's done. This bolts, that star-shaped piece bolts in between the ends of two pipes, and that's how we control our flow. So that's it on the technical side for this week. Stay tuned. We'll have a big update next week as much of the plumbing and hookup will be finished. Thank you.